Good morning. We're going to be trying out something new today. We're going to do the a pork shoulder Boston butt pulled pork on the grill. But instead of using a pre-made rub today, I'm going to be using chili powder, smoked paprika, garlic, onion, cumin, coriander, and fresh ground salt and pepper. Probably need a little coffee too to keep me through the day, seeing as though it's not even 7:30 yet, and we're going to try to get this onto the smoker, and I'd say by 8 o'clock at the latest. Okay, so at this point, what I've done is I've trimmed off all that hard fat from the bottom, or at least a good portion of it. And something about the rub today. So I'm trying to throttle back on some of the carbs today. So rather than putting on the sugar now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some sugar on later. I'm sure we'll still be able to build up a good crust with the spices and herbs. So I'm going to go ahead and get those on here and get it settled. So now we have trimmed all the hard fat. We have seasoned it up. We've used all the spices and rubs, and I've used classic yellow mustard as a binder. Right now I've got 3 probes in it, one high, one low, and one in the middle. I want to make sure that we keep good eye on this. I currently use a wireless thermometer that I got on Amazon for about 40 bucks. I've had it for a couple of years now, and I've really enjoyed using it. It's a great way to be able to keep an eye on your meats on the grill. So we'll be putting the pork butt directly on the grill. Right now I've got set to the smoke setting after preheating at the 200-degree setting. We're going to go ahead and keep it on the grill on the smoke setting for about an hour, hour and a half, just so I can really soak up some of that smoke flavor. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I did score cut the pork butt to really allow that smoke penetration into the meat. I'll be checking on this about once an hour. For those with the Pit Boss, I've got the P4 setting. That's the default P setting. We'll put it on the grill. I don't believe I mentioned it earlier, but we're going to be doing hickory for the first half of the burn, and then actually a mesquite that I'm going to top off the pellets with. So right now it's about, I'd say, 2/3 of a hopper full of hickory, and in about 2.5 hours I'll drain it and put mesquite pellets on the bottom. I've also moved the pork butt to the left side of the grill. In the center right here is where the fire pot is. It gets really hot, so in order to kind of keep a more indirect heat, I moved it over here, and then about every hour and a half or so I'm going to be rotating it about 180 degrees to make sure we get a nice, clean, even smoke and cook. Something else I didn't mention, I cook these with the fat side down, try to keep that fat as a barrier to that heat. So today's actually a pretty good day to be spending all day smoking a piece of meat. As you can see, it's rainy and cloudy and kind of yucky, even though it is Memorial Day weekend, But that being said, I do have my Pit Boss a whole lot closer to inside of my house than I normally would, so I'll have to keep an eye on this all day. So I'll be keeping the pork butt moist about every hour. I'll be spritzing it down with a homemade concoction of just some apple juice and some apple cider vinegar with kind of a, I would say 4-to-1 apple juice to vinegar, so it's not too tart, and just a little of a special ingredient because it's 8 o'clock in the morning and I thought it would be a good idea. Decided to add some Captain Morgan spiced rum to it. Okay, so it's been a little over an hour now. Looks like our internal temperatures are 71, 84, and 94. This is exactly why I use 3 different probes, so that I can see all different areas of the meat and how it's cooking. We'll look down here. We're at 185 for the grill temp. Let's see if that's the same. It's reading just under 200 here. So let's go ahead and open her up. Look at that, just less than an hour. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, give it a spritz. And then I'm going to rotate it. Just 90 degrees, and then I will be back. Decided to go for a bike ride while the piece of meat's in there smoking. Look what happened. Flat tire. Luckily, I'm only about 5 miles from home, so I should be able to get there before anything negative happens to that piece of meat. Okay, well, we're finally back at home. Let's go ahead and take a peek at this. Let's see, it's reading 111, 124, and 129. I went ahead and swapped out the pellets. See this mound over on this side, that's all the mesquite, and I left some hickory in the side, but I kind of made a hole in there so that the mesquite would feed into it. Looking forward to that flavor profile change. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this right here. Temperature is holding in right at about 200. Let's open it up. Oh wow, okay, so that's looking good. Now we're still pretty early in the cook, but we're definitely getting some of that browning and that more of a mahogany look. So let's go ahead and spray this down and let's rotate it. Now let's get back to work. Okay, so I cranked up the temperature at about 250. It looks like it's trying to climb up there. Let's see, a little over 250 on the actual, on the probe. And right now temperatures are sitting at a 142 at the high side, 151 in the middle, and 156 in the bottom. I'm looking for all 3 of them to be at least 156, then I'll pull it off and get it wrapped up. But let's take a look. Oh, wow, looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. $90 degrees. Okay, so at this point, we're reading 151, 157, and 165. So at least 2 out of 3 are above that 156 mark that I was aiming for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off and put it in this metal container, of which I'm going to wrap it up, add some braising liquid, and then go ahead and put it back on the pit boss. Before I pull it off, I just wanted you guys to see what this thing looks like. It's definitely got that deep red mahogany look. And look at that smoke billowing. Loving it. Okay, to make our braising liquid, I've decided I was going to use some apple juice and a splash of this white wine we had in the back of the fridge. I don't know if the white wine will do anything for it, but what the heck, I'll give it a shot. Okay, so we have the pork butt back in the tinfoil pan, and I've added 2 layers of heavy-duty aluminum foil to the top. Made a nice tight seal all the way around. I actually layered the bottom of the grill with these too to kind of keep the bottom of the pan from getting all nasty. So when I bring it inside, I can put it on some pot holders without getting them all nasty. So we are going to put this back on here for a couple more hours. As you can see, I did not put any probes inside for the temperature. We're going to fly blind here for a little bit because I want to keep that nice tight seal with no steam escaping for at least 2 hours. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put some probes in it and see where the temperature is. Okay, so it's been a while. I came out here to check the temperature, and maybe I should have checked it a little earlier because I was meaning to pull this thing off at about 203. Bottom's reading 213, top's reading 207, so it's definitely time to come off. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lift the aluminum foil off the top to let this thing cool down, let it vent, and then I'm going to cover it up so it retains the heat. And there she is. So we are going to go ahead and let her rest for at least 35 to 45 minutes. I've left the cover off just for a minute to stop the cooking, and then I'll go ahead and seal it back up to keep the heat. To go with the pulled pork, I'm going to make my own barbecue sauce, but instead of adding sugar, brown sugar, I'm going to be using this stuff, Splenda Zero. It's got no carbs, so it gives me license to eat as much as I want. So at this point, I've added equal amounts of chili powder, cumin, paprika, smoked paprika, and just a little bit of garlic salt. I'm gonna go ahead and mix in a little bit of the apple cider vinegar to give it some additional tart flavor, and then carefully, a little bit at a time, add that Splenda. And here we go with the final product. Look at all that delicious pork with the burnt end. So yummy.